to What She Said. I am your host, Moira, and joining me today I have my good friends here. Introduce yourselves, ladies.
I'm Paige.
And I'm Emma.
And today we're doing a bit of a deep dive, a little topic that I saw recently that I wanted to talk to the ladies about and also get your opinion, my listeners. We're going to talk about something that popped up on Channel 9 in Australia on their 60 Minutes show. A 45-year-old mother of three, Sarah Wynne Williams, once believed that she was helping shape the future. As Facebook's director of global public policy, she saw the platform as a revolutionary tool capable of transforming politics, society, and global disclosure across its 3 billion profiles. Isn't that insane? 3 billion. But behind the glossy mission statements and the billionaire visionaries, Sarah Wynne Williams discovered a world riddled with unchecked power, political maneuvering, and disturbing ethical compromises. Now she stands against the very empire she helped build, fighting a legal battle against Meta, the $2.3 trillion tech giant that wants her silenced.
My goodness.
For 7 years, Sarah navigated through the complex and risky dynamics of Facebook's upper ranks. She played by the unspoken rules, like letting Mark Zuckerberg win at board games. But she quickly realized...
stroking one's ego.
Oh my god. She quickly realized that some battles were far more consequential. Even as she was emailing Sheryl Sandberg from the delivery room, minutes away from giving birth, the demands of the job never relented. If you've been living under a rock and you're asking who is Mark Zuckerberg, he is the chairman, CEO, and controlling shareholder of Meta platforms, and they own and operate Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Who is Sheryl Sandberg? Well, she served as chief operating officer of Meta platforms, in a position which she stepped down from in August of 2022. In 2008, she was made COO at Facebook, becoming the company's second highest ranking official. In June 2012, she was elected to Facebook's board of directors, becoming the first woman to serve on its board. As head of the company's advertising business, Sandberg was credited for making the company profitable. So that's who she is. Sarah Wynne Williams has just released an explosive memoir called Careless People, which was published in March 11th of 2025, so very recently. And it peels back the layers of secrecy within Meta's walls. She details how Zuckerberg was blindsided by the influence that Facebook yielded in Trump's 2016 victory, becoming increasingly curious and obsessed with the power. So apparently... he had no idea the impact that Facebook had on Trump's victory. And so, in turn, he made an amendment to the share structure that underpins Facebook that would then allow Zuckerberg to step away for 2 years while retaining control to pursue public service, which then fueled speculation that he wanted to run presidency. Potentially.
Really?
That's what the thoughts are. So was it a coincidence that he attended Trump's inauguration? Some believe it was a genuine ambition, while others think it was a strategic power move. And I guess the question begs, is Trump aligning the Oval Office with tech billionaires, given that there was Elon and Mark and Jeff.
Benzon.
Yeah, look.
Bezos.
I feel like...
We'll get there.
I try not to talk politics because I don't really follow it, and I'm not
It's not my wheelhouse.
Educated in that.
Neither.
Not my wheelhouse.
But I've heard whispers that Trump's increasing the tariffs not so that his country can get rich, but so people sell off shares so he and his friends can buy them up. And then
own majority.
And then own majority, and then he'll drop it all again, and then he'll sell them off at a larger price.
My goodness.
But that's speculation.
He's a businessman, so businessman mentality.
He's a very powerful man, very rich man, and has a lot of friends in high places.
Yes, he has a lot of friends in high places.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Wynne Williams' revelations don't stop there, she exposes how Facebook was willing to meet the Chinese Communist Party's strict censorship demands to gain access to China's lucrative market that could see Meta make over $18 billion. The company allegedly developed a tool that allowed government-controlled editors to review and remove content an alarming concession for a company claiming to champion free speech. And if we remember back in January 2025, Meta had announced that it would be ending its third-party fact-checking program, moving to a community notes model. Community notes is what sites like X use. X, who was run by, you guessed it,
Elon
Musk, which was formerly Twitter. Although Meta ultimately failed to enter China, the mere willingness to comply with authoritarian censorship revealed the company's true priorities: profit over people. But Wynne Williams wasn't the only one who saw cracks in Facebook's foundation. One of Meta's earliest employees, Kelly Stonelake, spent 15 years at the company from 2009 to when she was laid off in January 2024. She has since filed a lawsuit in February 2025 against the former employer Meta for sex discrimination and retaliation for opposing Meta's illegal activity and violations of public policy, the suit alleges. In 2022, Kelly transferred internally to help develop one of the world's biggest virtual reality platforms, Horizon Worlds. She claimed she faced retaliation for raising concerns of the VR platform that Horizon Worlds did not have adequate safety systems to keep underage users off the platform. She flagged patterns of racist behavior on the app, which increased rapidly due to the lack of strong content moderation tools. She says the leadership team was aware that in one test, it took an average of 34 seconds of entering the platform before users with black avatars were called racial slurs. And I'm not going to go into what those were. You can use your
Only
imagination.
34 seconds.
34
That's
seconds.
horrific.
My goodness.
She says we were rapidly expanding and we didn't have a plan for how we could keep people safe, she told TechCrunch. According to the lawsuit, Kelly went on emergency medical leave to receive treatments for suicidal thoughts and post-traumatic stress disorder, treatment she is still receiving today. Perhaps the most shocking revelation in Careless People, the memoir written by Sarah Wynne Williams, was Facebook's ability to track teenage emotions. The company reportedly monitored the young users who felt worthless or helpless. For instance, if a 13-year-old girl deleted a selfie, instead of intervening with support, Facebook allegedly packaged the data, sold it to beauty advertisers, exploiting vulnerable moments to push products that promised confidence and self-worth. How do you feel about that? Like the company's using the data to target people at their most vulnerable moments, like teenagers struggling with self-esteem.
No, I don't agree with that at all. At all. I mean, we have all been down that path where we've not felt good enough. And to have someone exploit that for money, no.
It's not someone, it's an enterprise. To have a whole enterprise worldwide to be against people, just the fact that Kelly is off on medical leave.
There is more to her story. Both ladies have experienced SA.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh.
Well, I think just the fact that somebody that works within the company is thinking suicidal thoughts and not in a very good mental state, that just speaks volumes on what the rest of us, mere mortals, are meant to be feeling, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that the company has the ability to train its algorithm to know when someone is feeling at the lowest, yet choosing to make a profit from those beauty advertisers as opposed to filling their algorithm with support help, kids helpline, all of those
absolutely.
facilities.
Have those ads pop up as opposed to products that you can purchase to make yourself feel better.
In 2017, Wynne Williams accused her boss, Meta's policy director, Joel Kaplan, of sexual harassment. She claimed he made inappropriate comments about her postpartum body, referring to her as sultry, and prying into intimate details about her childbirth recovery. Shortly after, she was fired. Wynne Williams had just given birth to her second child and had medical complications, spending time in a coma. While on maternity leave, she was bombarded with high-pressure work requests and one-on-one meeting appointments. Wynne Williams claims that her manager told her that during this time she was not as responsive as she should have been. Meta, however, claims that she was dismissed for poor performance and toxic behavior. Meta's response to Wynne Williams has been swift and ruthless. They have secured an injunction to prevent her from speaking further, branding her as anti-Facebook activist rather than addressing the substance of her claims. But Wynne Williams refuses to back down. She's now working for an AI company as a tech consultant and insists that the time is right for people to have tough conversations about the power the world's tech moguls wield.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah. She says we really are in a moment where political leaders and tech CEOs are combining forces. They're strengthening their powers and influence. That really does have consequences. Her fight against Meta is no longer just about her personal battle. It's about holding one of the world's most powerful companies accountable. And despite Meta's attempts to silence her, she remains resolute. People deserve to know the truth. So I just wanted to pose a couple of questions after that onslaught of information. I just found it a really interesting story that was covered. And I just wondered if once these powerful people and companies gain so much power, is it even possible to put the genie back in the bottle? Or have we just lost complete control?
I think that money rules all, unfortunately, in this world and day and age, and money is going to counteract anything. Any attempt that comes their way, they will just bleed it out with money.
Yeah, and
No,
I guess
in this case, I don't think it's money. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but people are addicted to technology, and I don't think they're at the point now where I don't think they'll care because they
have the upper hand. They have the upper hand. It's the way the world is moving. And I guess if you think about Harvey Weinstein and how powerful and influential he was in Hollywood, he could make or break your career.
Exactly.
And he was responsible for the backing of so many movies, and that was power and money. And some of those people who knew what he was doing stay silent. That's what I mean by, can you ever just put the genie back in the bottle? Or does it have to get to a point where all of their dirty laundry airs and then they see themselves ostracized from whatever industry they're in? Is that what it takes to pull these people back in line?
Well, that's the thing, because as Emma said, it is a world that is dominated by tech. Everything is governed by tech. You need something, you go to AI. Who owns AI? Tech giants. There's no way of coming back from it.
Yeah, that's right. Just an example of how people are addicted to tech. So kids in school now don't even know how to use a dictionary because they Google the words. So, I mean...
And spelling, when they type in Word, it automatically underlines them to alert them that they've spelled it wrong and offers them the alternative. Yes. Gone are the chisels and the slate and the lead pencils.
That's right. You don't even need to get That's right. And you don't even need to get a pen license anymore. For our younger generation, do you even know what a pen license is?
No, they don't.
They still do them, actually.
Do they?
For shits and giggles, they do.
In the outback regional towns.
That surprises me.
Where they don't have Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
or stable internet connection. So I guess my next question is, we heard a little bit about the toxic culture. Have you guys ever worked in a place that had toxic culture?
Yes.
How did that impact you or its employees? Or
it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. As you know, I'm a quite bubbly person, and in the first couple of weeks of me working there, I was informed by my line manager that a person had complained that my happiness was too loud.
I'm sorry.
I know. Yep. How can your happiness be too loud? Hello. And the toxic culture that went along with that place, it was horrible. I would go to work and me being a very bubbly person would just be like, I'd wake up in the morning and I would not want to go. I would not want to go at all. And I'd literally sometimes in the car cry at the fact that I was going to this workplace because I didn't want to be there, but I had no choice. Well, I didn't feel that I had a choice except to stay there.
It's hard when, as well, when that is your actual livelihood, so that runs your life, because essentially you have to go to work to get money, and money pays for the roof over your head, the food in your fridge, the heating in your house. So it can be a really hard situation to try and get out of.
Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly where I was. It was that led to which I've discussed with you guys before, the amount of years that I was there and the amount of times that I'd felt just horrible. It was horrible. And that was part of the reason that led to my entering the fight with the black dog, which is also known as depression. And it took me a while to get out of that place with that fight with that dog, but I got out of it, thankfully. And this is the person that you see today.
It's hard when you're in it. Sometimes you don't even know you're in it. And
That's
it takes
right.
someone on the outside to say, you're not yourself.
That's right.
You don't
Exactly.
even listen then most of the time anyway.
No.
Takes a
No.
long time to realize. Yeah, I've worked in many toxic places. You know, it could be as simple as I don't like being micromanaged, so I really struggle with that. And then when I have stated that I work quite well autonomously or in a team, but just don't micromanage me, that's when they've kind of become the bully. And being bullied in a workplace is horrible.
It is.
And finally, they just kind of push you out. You know,
Don't give in.
if you deal with the shit, or they'll push you out from their actions. So that's actually
They
happening.
will performance manage you out.
Yeah, that's right. And then it always ends up being that you're the bad guy when that's actually not the case. And then they realize that when you've gone because you were actually a good worker, and then it takes two people to pick up the slack. So
Yeah. And I guess if that's the environment, then regardless of who they rid from the business, the toxic culture is still there.
That's right. Yeah.
And I noticed that it seems that the higher you climb in these like massive organizations, the more you really see what goes on behind the curtain, I guess. And those are the things that you can't unsee. And at a level, it feels like an exclusive club where speaking out becomes a serious risk. Do you think that's true of all powerful organizations? And if you were in the position, would you stay silent to protect yourself, or would you expose the truth no matter the cost?
I have to point out as well that it's not just at the top level, and there are people that climb the ladders that should not be managers, but continue to be promoted because they are just the people that are higher than them are like that needs to be someone else's problem.
It's nepotism as well. So it'll be that they've formed a friendship and then they end up getting the promotion.
Part of Kelly Stone Lake's claim, she said that in that 15 years, she was continually people promoted above her who were all male.
She was a woman.
Which is a form of bullying in itself.
I think that's part of. I think that's part of her sex discrimination claim.
Yeah.
But yes, there is the people who just form. I feel like that's exactly what Trump's doing, forming his alliance with the people that his friends or that he wants to bring in who support him and his ideologies. That is quite common.
I just feel like if you cut off the snake's head, the snake seems to still live for a while, and then somebody else is just willing to take its place. And it's normally either someone that's the same or worse. I mean, is it better the devil you know sometimes? I don't know. I think this is why a lot of like big companies are meant to, like, supposed to have ethics boards so that they're not crossing lines, particularly with tech.
But it's also easy to line your ethics board with people that you that know are going to sway to your rule.
Hence what
easy
I said,
to do.
Cut off the snake's head, it's still going to live because
you've set it up that way. Yeah. Look, it's an interesting one, and I know few people who are quite high up in the industries that they work within who just go, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and you wish you never saw it. But I guess back to the social media aspect of it all, do you think that the social media company should have power to censor and remove content based on government demands? I guess like Meta considered China's request to have them review and remove content as they see fit. Do you think that that should be allowed?
I think that it comes down to what is governing that country, which is freedom of speech for Australia, well, majority of the world. Now, I believe the Chinese Communist Party wanted to have that over in that country. It's much like changing the language to suit a particular country that you're going to. So again, I'm not necessarily condoning what the tech giants do, because we all know that they're a minority within themselves. But if you want to get your product out there, then you need to conform to what is going on in that country.
It is interesting, though, how they will make allowances for countries and their governments to be able to review and remove content as they see fit that goes against their regime. But when it comes to online harassment and abuse,
Are not willing to do anything.
they are not willing to do anything. And it's hands off. It's like we've removed our third
Freedom
party.
of speech. I definitely think that there needs to be a whole lot of work done in the realm of bullying and keyboard warriors, and those that think that because they don't have a face, they can't be pulled up for what they're doing. I think a whole lot of reform needs to happen in that aspect.
And I think this is the thing about tech, is that it's so far beyond my knowledge at all. And a lot of people, and it's really those tech giants who hold the monopoly of the information and the power that they yield. You don't know what you don't know. Can Facebook pick up when things are happening? Can they monitor that particular person? Can they put the procedures in place where these people get kicked off or get banned? And I guess it's up to those tech giants who have that knowledge and that data to go, we could potentially be doing something about this, but then we would lose profiles and we wouldn't then be the $2.3 trillion business that we are today. So I think it really does come back to that whole profit over people.
Yeah. But I've had friends that have tried to post things on Facebook and they've had a warning saying this content that you're trying to post does not meet the standards of Facebook. So clearly there are some sort of things that are going on the system, but they're allowing people to still say hurtful and harmful things.
Interesting.
So like it's hypocritical, really.
Yeah. So I guess, do you think that social media platforms manipulate your emotions, and do you think they intentionally prey on their insecurities?
Absolutely.
I think that's just been proven by what Sarah Wynne Williams has had to say.
Absolutely. Yep.
I don't know. I think anytime you take like the verbal away, so any video, so as soon as somebody types something, that takes away their tone and their emotion. It can be misconstrued as something else.
I do think, though, it was interesting if you can cast your mind back to 10, 15 years ago on Facebook, when it used to prompt you, it used to say, how are you feeling today? And it had a generated, I feel sad, I feel happy. And this was obviously never discussed, the back end of what they did with that information and how it triggered the algorithm. And maybe they weren't there yet. Maybe that was their testing. But it would be interesting now to see if they had that, or if they pick up on words such as sad or small or little or whatever it is, what then the algorithm picks up to then influence you in those emotions.
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
Interesting. And I guess after hearing the story, do you trust companies like Meta with your personal information?
Well, it's tough, isn't it? Because people are writing, they say not to put in personal information in these platforms, but if you're wanting help with a resume, or people are using it for absolutely everything, particularly people are putting personal information in. If they're cutting and pasting their resume to get a cover letter, that's got all their personal information in it. People aren't going to think to remove their name, their address, their phone number, their previous job titles, because they want all that in there so that they can just spit out a cover letter. I mean, Meta has everybody's information now. It knows the insides of everyone's thoughts.
The only way to refrain from not having your personal information out there is to be still on paper and not have a mobile phone and not have any sort of service to anything.
So
that's the only way.
It was quite interesting at the end of the 60-minute story. Interviewer asked Sarah Wynne Williams, are you still on Facebook? She said yes. She said, after all of this, after all of what you know, you're still on Facebook. And she said, yeah, it's the only way I can communicate with my 96-year-old grandmother.
Oh, bless.
I was like, good on her for being able to work Facebook. But I guess that's the thing, right? I'm on Facebook. I'm not active on Facebook. I don't post. I don't do anything like that. I'm on it because it reminds me of birthdays. I don't mind the memories that pop up, just to give you a little look back and see what's happened. But also it is a communication tool for my family. So you have those groups that or you can have pages, and it's to keep in contact with people internationally or interstate. It does have its perks, and I think it'd be very hard to find someone who's not on any social media.
Yeah. It's the new landline.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for today's episode. As we've heard from Sarah Wynne Williams, the battle against the power and reach of the tech giants like Meta is far from over. And it's the fight for the truth that could shape the future of our digital lives. From the corporate corruption to the ethical dilemmas posted by social media. These conversations are more important than ever. So, what do you think? Can we regain control over the giants that shape the world, or has the genie already been let out of the bottle? Let us know, comment, send us a DM, and we appreciate everyone. Follow us on socials if you haven't already. Thank you for listening to What She Said. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Moira.
I'm Paige.
And I'm Emma.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.